Hiya, how's it going?
Hi, Elie. How are you?
Very good. So thank you for joining us today. Haya Samain.
Yes, correct.
Can you tell us a bit about your experience in the hospitality, marketing and communication?
Sure. I studied hospitality and marketing in Ryerson University in Canada. So I did my undergrad in Canada. I graduated and I moved to Jordan. I started out my career with Marriott brand.
Okay.
In 2011. اشتغلت هناك 3 سنين. I was into marketing and events, and then I had an opportunity to go to Abu Dhabi. So with a different brand. So I worked there for about a year, and then I got a really good opportunity to come back to Doha in 2015. And I worked back with, at that time it was Starwood, and then I moved with Marriott because there was the whole transition there. So I've been working in the hospitality field for about 10 plus years.
Okay. Mainly in Marriott brands. Yeah.
Marriott brands, yeah.
Okay. Well, I heard someone told me that you were the youngest marketing director ever in Qatar, something like that. Is it the right story?
It is, actually.
Okay.
So I became an assistant director of marketing when I was 24. I did that position for about a year.
Okay.
So when I moved with Sheraton at that time, Sheraton Grand Doha, ب 2015, I became the director of marketing. So I got that opportunity to overlead the team and position the hotel in Qatar. So I was youngest, like I was 25, going on to 26 at that time.
Okay. Wow. So youngest and a woman at the same time in male-dominated industry mainly, also within the region. So how was that journey? What were your challenges mainly that you faced?
To be honest, it was challenging, akid. I was the youngest. My team was the executive team and the head of department team. They were all males at that time. So when they see a young woman, they're like, okay, they might have some biased views about me. But what I did is I just focused on delivering work, making sure that I'm producing results. So this is how I earned my position and my status within the company and within the market. So I worked really hard on elevating myself, elevating the hotel, building the right team, and earning my position there with the hard work and the deliverables that I was able to produce for the hotel. But I had amazing leaders that I used to report to, so they had also supported me. So that's really important as well.
You didn't have like a big challenge? Well,
it was.
Even though we deal with a lot of women in the industry who are in a position of leadership, and we see actually, like even from our side, and they're on a client side, we see the struggle that they have. Sometimes in, let's say, strategically, and how they get looked at within a corporate level that is fully male dominated. So even if you're delivering results, there is still that.
It was a combination of having a very strong personality and like being very assertive in what I want. It's all about personality and how you position yourself. And perception is reality. So I had to really work on that. How people perceive you, what their views about. Of course, like like I'm young, but I'm the only female. But again, it goes back, being very assertive, having the strong personality. You know what you're talking about, right? You're in marketing. Yeah. It's your domain, and it was just building that. It took me quite a few years to get where I wanted to be. So it wasn't an easy road. I'm sure there was many challenges along the way back then. I can't specifically recall, but I had really good leaders, GMs that supported me and supported my vision for the hotel. So this is what I faced with.
It's even within the marketing industry, even within our team, for example, I can 100% confirm that the industry, from like the academically, people who go into creative arts and art is like women dominated, but then when you go into the leadership positions, it starts dropping out within corporate. I understand like the social aspect of it in our Eastern culture, but it's tough. It's tough. But I think in 2015 also, if you're looking at that period, this is where the digital revolution was starting.
Yes.
And all brands needed to onboard young, fresh minds.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you? Like bringing in this new way of thinking, new way of doing marketing, localizing it in a market that was focused on, let's say, heavily on print, word of mouth, one-on-one like sales and invitations, guerrilla marketing versus the digital world?
As you said, that 2015, it was just the peak of the digital world, and how I wanted to position the hotel. I used to always say to my team, let's look at what the market is doing and let's do it differently. How can we evolve? How can we be different? Currently now, in today's market, you see that a lot of hotels are copying each other, and that's their measure of like success, We'll talk about a bit later, but at that then...
This is going the safe way.
This is going the safe way. That's being like...
We see something that's working and
exactly,
we copy it.
And this is what hotels are doing currently. Yeah. They're like, oh, I love this content on this X page. Let's do the same.
Not just hotels, like from experience.
Yes, let's do that, Where's creativity? Where's brainstorming? And let's come up with new ideas. So back then in 2015, I was like, okay, let's study the market. Let's come up with ways... like offline ways that we can like evolve. So I took it into kind of like bubbles. I always say like, okay, let's look at our content. How can we elevate our content? Okay, let's get photographers. Let's do mood boards. Let's create content. Let's do a bit of storytelling, because it's the brand voice of our hotel. When people go on Instagram, they're going to check out the hotel. So what stories can we tell our audience, our viewers? So we really invested into content marketing. That was my main strategy, because how would they evaluate marketing? إيش أول شيء بتطلع على الواحد؟ Oh, their Instagram. Oh, they're doing amazing. Like I can see that their content, they're investing. There's videos. Hotels back then were not investing in content marketing. So I was like, I convinced my GM. I was like, let's invest some dollars. Let's do some really good content.
It was fully focused on magazines, print,
let's elevate our social media presence, and it was just the start of that. Then hotels, around the hotels within the Marriott group, they noticed this change and they're like, oh wow. And I remember director of marketing, they would call me, they're like, which photographers, which content creators are you working with? Because we want to do the same thing. That's with content marketing. Digital marketing world, we didn't have digital experts on ground. We did have like a digital team that we would work with from like remotely, from Marriott. So they would do like our SEO, website optimization, all of that. We didn't handle that in-house. But I tapped into the digital world
because the culture was not here yet.
No, that's the setup of the hospitality industry, like within Marriott. Like they have like a digital. Unless
you're doing ad hoc campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. We manage in-house, but I didn't have the expertise, like the talent to work on the campaigns back then. So we had to hire an agency. So we started working on sponsored ads, social media ads, Google ads, YouTube ads. Back then, like you're talking about 2015. So we tapped into these mediums, and I would have meetings with them like, okay, our hotel's investing in this, not yet. Let's do it. Let's be the first to do that. And so I was able to convince my GM, and I remember the director of finance, they're like, convincing them of the power of the social media, because at that time it was really important to... We did, of course, offline media camp because you needed to support the newspapers, the magazines, but our budget was heavily focused on digital back then.
How hard was it to convince the CFO? I love talking about CFOs because I hate how they think. So sorry,
he's a great man. God bless him. He made me succeed at that hotel because he gave me budget.
Because if they can't see it, you cannot purchase it. And it doesn't make sense to them back then, not now.
Yeah. تعرف شو كنت أعمل؟ أروح عنده على المكتب مستر ديا أفرجي visual. This is what we need to do. This is the social media ad campaigns. This is the return. This is the power of social media. I would go and educate him and talk to him. Okay, let's give that a try. thank you so much. Let's give it a try. And then slowly, the Marriott team started to notice the results. And when we would have the meetings, they're like, you guys are doing amazing social media. And the feedback that we used to get from them helped me, obviously.
So you showed him the results.
Of course.
And
it was that at that time, the director of finance, he was responsible of approving all the budgets.
Yeah.
At that time. So I did a lot of education, let's say, educating the director of finance of the importance of investing.
I think this is the biggest step needed. It's education. And once someone who's in a position of decision making, once they get educated on the power of what you can deliver, it's done for. It's gonna make your life easier moving forward. But if you don't take that step, you don't do that effort to educate the person in a position of authority, and he's gonna make your life horrible.
It's all about that, because for them marketing is just marketing. They don't really understand the depth of the importance of investing in marketing. So it took a lot of education, a lot of time and effort, and this is but I saw the importance of it back then.
Okay. I want to go back to the copying thing. I just remembered something that I wanted to talk about. Have you seen maybe 2 years ago تذكر قصة الويس أندرسون videos?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I really need to talk. It's not within our topic, but I really need to talk about this. So the trend went up like in the States or somewhere, I don't know where. And then it got back to us here maybe like 2 months after. And it took like a week, it boomed. And then the hotel industry jumped on the trend like way too late. So we were already like bombarded by ten-ing. And then the hotel industry jumped on it like 2 weeks after. You just see the ad, and they spent a lot of money like on production and the creative and doing all of that. And everybody was just like, you just listen to the first 2 seconds of the tune, just skip it.
But this is what's happening in the market. Like everyone copies what other hotels are doing.
With no relevance.
No relevance at all. I'm just giving you an example. Ramadan, okay? Who is the first hotel to promote about Ramadan? You know? And they're like, نحن بدنا نكون أول hotel to promote about Ramadan because we need to be the first.
سبق.
It doesn't make a difference who does first, you know? It's about the strategy. There's a strategy behind. You know, what's my strategy for Ramadan? Awareness campaigns. Let's start with awareness campaigns. How long is this going to run for? You know, and then we move into conversion. Are we attracting groups? How are we going to run campaigns for groups, for corporate? So there's a whole strategy that needs to be put together. But again, it's the lack of understanding and education. It's like the GMs are like monitoring on social media who's coming out first and who's doing better content. But there's more to that. It's like, you know,
why do you think this happens?
Lack of education. I think marketing leaders need to step up their games and be like, listen, it's not about being the first in the industry or being the first hotel to promote Ramadan, or I'm just giving an example. You know, there has to be a strategy put in place and reasoning and KPIs. You know, I'm here for the hotel as a marketing. I'm here to bring brand awareness and make money for the hotel. Yeah. Right? It depends on the product that you're trying to sell.
But do you think there's like pressure from corporate or maybe owners or?
It's corporate, they don't really get involved in to that level, but I think it's from an owner's perspective. But GMs need to stand up and say, listen, this is our...
This is where the duty of the marketeer to do the education internally first.
Yes. And another thing that kills me, you know, like if you don't post stories, it means you're not doing your job. Guys, it's not about posting a story that's going to give you a return. There's a whole strategy that needs to be put in place to give you the returns. And marketing, what I saw here, you know, it's all about consistency. You know, you can't set up a campaign for 1 month and then go silent for another couple of months.
This is mainly what they did.
The
whole industry is ran on tactical campaigns that are looking for direct ROI and not long-term value of client.
Yes, and we're very reactive to the market. We're not being proactive.
Yeah.
So we're doing our marketing in a way that it's just, oh, the hotel did that. Let's do that. Let's come up with this like event and promote it and market it because this hotel did it. But it's not the way. You guys need to like be the trendsetters. Let's come up with different ideas. هلا نحن بالأوتيل the setup is completely different because you're targeting different products. So you have rooms, you have food and beverage, you have spa. So for each of these products, you need to come up with a different strategy. You have long-term strategy over a year plan, and then you have tactical, where you're doing like, as you said, like short campaigns, immediate results, right? Seasonal campaigns, immediate results. But there's no long-term strategy where you see, okay, the effect of not necessarily it gives you immediate ROI, but there has to be some brand awareness, PR around the hotels.
Of course, because I think there's always something missing, and I talk about that with my team a lot, which is consumer behavior. And I'm a Marriott Bonvoy member, and even let's say I'm going somewhere, business trip or vacation or whatever, even if I have to pay slightly more, I'd rather go to a Marriott brand just because I can benefit like from my Bonvoy and the experience I'm gonna get, maybe get an upgrade. How is that relevant now in the marketing strategies that are built like within these the luxury industry in hotels?
شوف, hotels are all about loyalty, right? You just said it yourself. You know, you're a Marriott Bonvoy member, you get benefits, and this is what consumers want, right? They want to feel exclusive. They have exclusive benefits, you know. And this is very relevant and very important in today's market. And from a global perspective, Marriott does invest in a lot of marketing spent on promoting this. So we don't do it locally, but from a global perspective, they come up with these campaigns and they promote it.
I know from a global perspective they do it, and they spend a lot of money like on the Bonvoy, even other brands like IHG as well. They spend a lot of money on that. But I think there's something missing when you were talking about PR, and I don't know if there's something that's being done.
To be honest, we haven't. It like to localize the marketing campaigns, like in terms of assets, they come up with the marketing campaigns and they have budgets already sent. But from a hotel perspective, like on ground, we have goals to achieve to enroll Marriott Bonvoy members. So we do sort of like on ground activations to ensure like we have new, if you're a new member, especially when a guest checks in.
مثلا new members احنا القدام تكتبونا
انتوا بيجيكم you know, like email. I'm sure you get emails and notifications from them and stuff.
No, like the global side of it, the aspect how they do it, it's perfect, it's amazing.
And it's led that way.
Okay.
It's led that way. Yeah.
That's the brand way of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it like a budget thing that locally cannot be done, or just
I think they have a different strategy. I think it needs to be led by one team, brand team that unifies the whole campaign. I'm sure you've seen the level of campaigns they've done for mine. It's a different level, you know. So I think they want it that way. They want to keep that level of quality and messaging. So it's led by global team.
Okay. On a local marketing aspect, you know, I'm going to ask you about the lovely budget questions. Yeah.
That's our struggle, you know. Give us marketing budget, and the struggle of the GMs. Where's my ROI? You know.
What's happening there? Like it's ridiculous. And,
look,
I'm saying this because within the clients that we work with a lot of hospitality clients in different markets, and we have same brands sometimes in different markets. The lowest budget is always in Qatar.
It's true.
The lowest budget is always in Qatar.
It's sad.
And is it on a corporate level or?
شوف الcorporate ما كتير بتدخلوا بهاي. Like of course, like the budget needs to be approved by corporate, but there's a standard percentage marketing percentage that in terms of like 4 to 5% of your total revenue, that's your marketing budget. And if you really calculate that, it's not enough budget. Usually pre-opening hotels, they have higher budget because obviously the marketing strategy is completely different. But for current open hotels, hotel struggles with that. Like if you were to do really 360, invest in proper PR, content, I'm talking
because
about...
Because you have outlets also.
You have outlets.
So how do you navigate this? Like you have a very low budget and GM comes to you, Haya, this is your budget. And you know you need at least 10 times more. How do you navigate this?
Sometimes it's like take it or leave it. This is your budget and you have to work with it. But at the end of the day, they can't come back to marketing and say, listen, you're not delivering. How come? You know, how would I deliver if the budget, if I'm allocating 5,000 riyals per outlet, let's say, to spend 5 to 10,000, that's your minimum, right? Maximum 10,000 riyals per outlet. What is this going to actually give me in return? If I were to like, you know, if I want to do like an awareness campaign, I want to do a lead conversion campaign, I want to tackle Google, I want to do Google search, I want to do PPC, it's not enough.
You didn't even like touch the OTAs, like the online travel agencies.
Yes, like OTAs is like a different thing, right? The OTAs, they take commission based, right?
Yeah.
Based on the bookings that you receive. So it's not enough. It's not enough. So again, it goes back, and I always say this, it goes back educating your GM and say, listen, like if you need these results, and have a solid strategy and have something in place. But we're in a market, we're very active, especially when it comes for F&B. Like, okay, they set a calendar, an F&B calendar, but does it actually, you know, do we follow through that? Not necessarily. We're very adaptable to the market. And I've seen that across.
We wait for something to happen and then we take action.
Exactly. But there's no clear, like, and even if we have set strategies, let's say, it never follows through because there's people changing in the departments, there's high turnover, people come and go, GMs come and go. So it's
a budget issue that's putting like constraints on staffing.
Yes. Yeah. Akid. We struggle with that. And it's always the marketing to blame for, you know, like the restaurant is not doing well, it's empty. Guys, did you look at the market? I mean, you know, did you look at your offering? You know, they're building restaurants that have huge seating capacity. You know, from where are we gonna get this demand for to fill during the week? Maybe weekends, yes, we're full.
Yeah.
But during the week, I mean, look around, restaurants are empty. So, and this is really sad. And it's not only depressing for us, but it's also depressing and demotivating for the restaurant managers because they struggle through with that.
I know the supply is huge in the F&B sector in terms of whether in hotels or outside hotels, the supply is huge. Is it something related to the World Cup anticipation that pushed this, do you think? Or it wasn't that bad before? I don't think it was that bad before.
Of course, they build hotels, they build restaurants to fill that need because the number of visitors have, you know, tripled during the World Cup, but
we were expecting it. Like we've built hundreds or maybe thousands of new restaurants and tens of hotels. For who?
But the funny thing is, and we saw this during the World Cup, people were not coming to the hotels.
Yeah.
Sad reality, huh? People were not coming to the hotels to watch the games. They wanted to go to the fan zones.
Yeah, exactly.
They wanted to experience the thrill of the World Cup. They're not going to come to a hotel and sit and look at the screen and watch the games.
We were checking this. We were checking like the prices. If you were trying to look at the price a month before the World Cup, the prices were ridiculously high. Okay, the like closer you were getting, the prices were dropping. First day, this is where the hotels noticed like, we're not gonna get the bookings we were expecting. And a lot of people, if you travel during the World Cup, because I moved from like Qatar to Saudi to our offices, a lot of people were just jumping in to watch the game and leaving.
Yeah.
Not even staying the night.
We saw that the restaurants suffered and they would come and complain and say, listen, my restaurant is not busy. no one's gonna come. People are gonna be out watching the games. So
now we're considered like in a drawback from the World Cup, and you get still the hospitality business is a seasonal business.
Yeah.
So what are like the strategies, marketing tools that you would be doing during like the low seasons with the sort of budget that you guys had or have anywhere here in the market? It's all the same.
Sure. We tackle those differently. Like for low seasons, of course, you have the summer period. We focus on creating packages, like tailor-made packages that suits the needs of our different consumers, right? You have corporate travelers, you have leisure travelers. During the summer seasons, we don't see a lot of leisure travelers because it's too hot to stay outside. Yeah. So most hotels depend on the peak season business, you know. Sorry. Just like that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So actually, during the low season, we have an opportunity to work on our customer experiences, our packages, our offerings, to cater for those travelers or consumers that will come and experience the hotel. So أنت عندك technically from like September until May to capture that. And this is where hotels need to really focus on really amplifying their marketing spend, their offerings, elevating the services. We know Qatar is a very family-oriented place. We know that our consumers love personalization, luxury, especially in the local market. International market also seek that experience. So we can leverage on those experiences. And you see that most hotels are now implementing more of family-oriented activities like kids club. You see kids club, inflatable water park. You know, now being a mother, it's very important. Like when I choose a hotel, I'm always seeking a hotel that has these family-friendly activities. A kids club, you know, I can take my daughter and spend an hour and two. So we need to cater to that target segment because, you know, Qatar is a very family-oriented destination. And it's a big market to target, tap into.
Even for the regional?
Local and regional. Like we've done campaigns in Saudi and in Arabic, of course, local, like in language campaigns. So it does help. It does help, of course.
I want to talk about experience of the customer.
Yeah.
Because you can do the best marketing strategy, the best marketing campaign, best creative. At the end of the day, if the hotel does not offer the client the proper experience, you're going to lose that client. And I've seen that happen a lot in a lot of chains where you're expecting, because you know, I'm going to name like it's Marriott, okay, Marriott brands, IHG, whatever. You expect a level of customer service. You see their campaigns, it gives you this feeling of they're going to take care of you. Yeah. Okay, you're not going to have like a bad stay. It's going to be amazing. And then you go on ground. A lot of the times you get bad customer service. A lot of the time. And it destroys like all of your marketing activities that you have done. Have you faced any of these like type of situations, and how did you deal with that, where like you launched a mega campaign or an event, an activation, whatever, and because of customer service it was like a failure?
رح أعطي like an example of an F&B concept that we launched, like a pop-up launch concept. The concept was brilliant. We did amazing marketing PR activation around it. But we faced major issues from an operation point of view where the guests were trying to call the number and they were not able to go through, or they were not able to reserve. So we received a lot of guest complaints about bookings. We don't have a booking system. Everything was done manually.
Because it's a pop-up.
Again, هاي رح أحكي فيها أكتر. في hotels, they have the proper setup systems, but some hotels don't have. They do it the traditional way of like, you know, mapping allocating guests, an Excel sheet, very traditional way, which kind of shocked me. But other hotels utilize like proper automation and things like that. So we had really major issues, with that. And I personally like to get involved in operationally. Like, it's not my thing, but I do, because I want to make sure
you want to make sure that your campaign gets successful.
Yes, I don't want to receive complaints, either on Instagram or, so I try to help the food and beverage department in ensuring that these problems don't happen. So I create WhatsApp groups, I communicate with them, what's the issue, trying to resolve these issues and making sure that we're totally and fully in control. It's not just about launching the campaign, but the end result is very important, because كمان هون بالmarket it's all about word of mouth كمان.
Yeah. The market is very small.
You can have an amazing concept, but if you don't launch it properly, and as you said, the customer experience, the guest experience is horrible, one guest is going to tell the other. So
one guest is going to tell 20.
20, yes, true. 20.
Yeah.
So from a hotel perspective, the beauty of TripAdvisor is that, guests have the option to review us on TripAdvisor. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but all hotels compete to be number one on TripAdvisor.
Of course.
So you can tell a lot about the guest experience from a public point of view. نحن عنا أكيد بالأوتيلات we have guest GSS, like guest satisfaction surveys. And we heavily focus on that. It's not like we disregard how the customer feels. Like
of course not.
We track everything. We try to resolve. We call the guest. We make sure. So there's always ways of improving the customer journey and making sure that they're happy and satisfied and they leave happy. And international brands have measures in place. So hotels do focus heavily on that. But it goes back to the operation, training the team,
because you can have the best setup if your operation does not follow through and does not go the extra mile as well. Like there's one example that I love to give in hospitality, because it happens with me, it happens with a lot of other people, and it pisses me off. When you have a breakfast from 7 to 10, for example, and you go there at 10:05.
Oh, sorry, we were closed. We're closing.
Can I have an omelet? Oh, we're closed.
Yeah.
I always ask them the same question. Like, do you have eggs in the bag? Yes. Do you have mushrooms? Yes. Can the chef mix them together? Yes. Why are you not doing like this extra 5% of service to a client that you're supposed to retain?
Yeah.
So
teams, they need a lot of training. You cannot be in hospitality. You cannot be systematic. You need to have a bit of common sense. I was a waitress when I was 16, 17 years old. I've been a front desk agent, and this is the beauty of hospitality, and at least in my experience, that I was able to go through all of these aspects of hospitality, and you need to really adapt to the customer. Like, you need to, as you said, go over above and beyond, and
especially
not to be
when
like
you work in the service industry.
Like systematic. No, you have to be adaptable to the customer and make sure that he's happy. And at the end of the day, we're here to serve the customer, to 100%. Serve the guest.
I want to talk a bit about the influencer marketing rise that we saw in worldwide. How was your experience working with micro influencers, local influencers, international influencers as well within your hospitality career here?
Going back to 2015, the rise of influencer digital marketing started then. I did actually a couple of successful campaigns, paid campaigns with influencers from Kuwait. بتذكر أول كامبين اشتغلت معها كويتية اسمها دانا الطويرش, ما بعرف إذا بتعرفها.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. بتذكر we did like an afternoon tea concept.
Okay.
And it was created with her, and we did a whole video campaign. This was 2015. بتذكر كانت هي عم بتنزل على سناب شات إنه أنا بقطر بالشرط إنه هيك فجأة بلاقي قطريين جايين. I was like, whoa, this is influential, It was so interesting. بتذكر إجوا أهلا دانا. By the way, she's a very lovely lady. We've had experience.
So it was instant.
instant.
Okay.
يجوا على الأوتيل and I was like wow إنه هلا هي أكتر طبعا عم تحكي عن 2015
yeah, of course.
كانت she was like at the peak of her and
Yeah.
now she's obviously very well known. So that was for me was like whoa, this is really really interesting. اشتغلت أنا بالشيراتون مع a lot of Qatari influencers صراحة, and I've always seen direct impact with them. Because they do have an impact. It's their country,
yeah.
you know, it's their country and people listen. It's relevant to them.
Yeah.
And working with Qatari influencers.
And they use the platforms that are relevant to the culture.
Yes, like Snapchat, TikTok, you know, Qataris like to be on those platforms. Twitter, you know, it depends on the influencer and what medium he's using. But Anna, for me, in terms of local Qatari influencers that we used to pay, I've always seen not necessarily an instant ROI, but you know,
you would see the results.
I would see the results. Like we would be seen. Like we would, you know, and that's part of PR, like influence, you know, and they're really, really, really nice to work with, pleasant to work with, easygoing, supportive, but you have to pay. The thing is with influencers, it's not sustainable. Their price is high, and I understand that.
كله رايح من البادجت الصغير
اللي عنا. Okay. You see impact, yes, but is it sustainable? It's not.
It's not sustainable.
فهاي المشكلة إنه طب أنا إذا بعمل one time off influencer campaign, is it really enough? It's not enough. I can use him in a video campaign. He can sponsor from his social media. I sponsor. It's a one time off thing. We can do it quarterly. Is it sustainable? Not really, because you need to pay them. Local و international. عندك سعوديين, عندك كويتيين, عندك influencers. They're worth working with.
Plus, from like data analysis, what you will see. Let's say you get X influencer for the first time. You pay X amount. You will get, for example, a return of 3 times. So you paid him 50, you got 150.
Yeah.
Very good. He made 50. Okay. Next time, let's get the same individual again. You pay 50, you get 100. Because the initial reach was higher than his second. Third time, paid 50, you get 50. So it's not consistent. This is based on like actual data that we've done with the same influencer. So the amount of money that you're spending on his brand is bigger than what you're getting like long term. So doing the tactical thing, yes, it will get you big hits on like instant big hits, but continuously going with the same individual will just drop down your return.
Yeah, and also there's no brand loyalty. You know, you see these influencers, and it's their right. I mean, there's no wrong. I mean, they're here to make money as well, right? So I will talk about the paid influencers and the expat influencers بالmarket. You know, micro. اللي عم نشوفه هلا بقطر. I don't know about other markets, but especially in hotels, like you have influencers being invited to the same events. And in the activation, it's the same influencers that are being invited from hotel to hotel. There's no brand loyalty. It's just how the market is, and we're just going away with the market. You get my point? فعندك أنت الexpat influencers منهم whatever Jordanians and they could be relevant somehow. Yes, they will give you the awareness. بس أنت عم بتشوف نفس the group of influencers. They are moving from one hotel to the next, and it's everywhere. You see that everywhere.
And they're not maybe relevant to every single industry.
Yes, some are into fashion. Some are into automotive. Some are into sports. Again, it's just being very reactive. It's just being like, okay, I have an activation. Let's invite influencers. Are they really influencers? Do they really influence?
I think it's from the perspective of the decision maker who's making that decision. It's what I like, not what the market wants. So. And the market doesn't care about what you like.
Yeah, and it's very mass. There's no niche marketing. نحن ما عندنا niche marketing. So this is what hospitalities do wrong. It's like one message that fits all. But you should have targeted...
Because they all copy each other.
Yes, we should have very targeted campaigns and very niche campaigns that target our consumers. We need to understand our consumers. Who are our consumers to start with, you know? And we need to tailor those creatives, the visuals, for these each target segments. What I see in hospitality is that we do one campaign, fits all, but it's not. And this is something that needs to be relooked. Unfortunately, in hospitality, and we were talking about this earlier, I always call it a production house, you know.
Yeah.
It's a factory house.
Must not. Yeah.
We don't have time to really study and analyze consumer behavior, psychographics, demographics. We don't have the proper database tools to measure these. We don't have a CRM system. Now I'm into the real estate business, so I'm working with my husband in real estate, and he developed, an automated CRM system that I can, when I'm doing my ads, they're connected to the CRM, so I can see where the ads are coming from. Unfortunately, in hospitality, or specifically for this brand, we cannot track. We cannot put pixels, we cannot put UTMs, we cannot really understand how our campaigns are performing. We can get, yes, the analytics from Meta Business Suite, but it's not enough.
It's not enough. Because the retention part with the client as well, what you can remarket to.
Exactly.
If you don't have your CRM in place, if you don't have, I love to talk about the CDP, the customer data platform. This is something that's not even CRMs are almost non-existent in the hospitality world. And one of our big clients in Saudi implemented a CDP, customer data platform, and they're doing something amazing. Like compared to the rest of the industry, they're so advanced and way ahead of the competition. And for others to like keep up in terms of data and where they're going, it's gonna take them a lot of time just because they do it faster.
I'm telling you, hospitality, because I'm inside and I can see, we don't have a proper data where like an automated system where we track. Everything is in a system. أنا في عندي director of sales. Where is your database? You know, it's in an Excel sheet, but this person can leave.
Yeah.
So where is our database? For over years, you've opened the hotel, let's say for 10 years. Where is my database? Okay, هلا عندك guests that are checking in. It's in the Opera system. But I'm talking about marketing and sales. I'm talking about marketing. You're doing all these campaigns. Where is the database? You know, how are we retargeting? How are we remarketing? You know? So
they're relying mainly on the native platform to keep the data.
We're just there to publish.
Yeah.
You know, I need an ad like this. Yalla, publish. But you know, marketing, it's all about understanding your consumer behavior. Who is your target market? How are they reacting to your brand? When you're doing campaigns, you need to analyze your campaigns. You get it, okay, from Meta Business Suite. بس نحن مثلا as Marriott ممنوع نحط pixels
on the main website
and Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook you can, but it won't connect.
But you can bypass it locally if you build like your own.
But they don't allow as a brand. I tried.
Okay.
You know, and the only way, like for example,
even for ad hoc tactical.
Yeah, like for Facebook, Facebook campaigns, what we do is like all the campaigns are diverted to WhatsApp. So if someone is interested, they get
direct booking on WhatsApp.
Direct booking on. But who does that nowadays? You know.
Yeah.
For room bookings, we take them to the landing page of the website because there's big efforts and big focus on diverting not a bit, like we need to drive direct bookings. So there has to be a lot of effort on getting guests to book directly online. Because of course for the ATAs, نحن as a hotel, we pay commissions. So we need to, they help, of course.
Plus it's your first party data on your website.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's very important. So that we can measure, like we can but again, you cannot put pixels. We can put a code, we can see, okay, we got this many bookings. Yeah. But it's the old way of tracking, you know, and I think they need to have better automations. But Anna, what's surprising to me is that, you know, being with a brand for 10 years, I haven't seen the development in that aspect.
I think they consider us here as like emerging markets and we're forgotten. So I've never seen why. It's only in the hospitality industry. Like we work in the automotive industry and it's much more advanced than like we work with the regional, global, all of these, and they give the actual dealer autonomy on a lot of integrations and systemization and digitalization that they can do.
Yeah.
So they have their own CRM, they have their own tracking. Even if there's something they support, it's just in the hospitality industry and these big corporations that they block the whole thing.
I don't know if it's GDPR, they're protecting consumer rights. I really don't know. I honestly don't know. But I think we have a big opportunity to upscale ourselves, especially in marketing. Like there's a big room. ونحن بالmarketing, you know, for a hotel setup, you have a team of 4. We're trying to wear so many hats. I told you this earlier. Like, you know, I'm doing social media, PR, events, you know. Writing captions, content management. Man, like, it's crazy.
With
it's
a director
wild.
title.
You know, with a director title, you know. Training your team, you know. So it's a lot. It's a lot. We wear a lot of hats. We do a lot of things at once.
It all comes back to budget constraints.
It all comes back to budget concern. هلا عم نشوف they're hiring more people to do more things. Like, okay, let's get digital experts on ground, but you really need a good digital expert, right? You need to pay, right? You need to invest in talent. You want to get the right people. You want to pay them for their skills. You need to invest in people. But it's a lot.
How feasible was it to manage all of these challenges, your team, your GM, operations, all of these, and being a mom at the same time?
It's
especially working in the hospitality sector, which is very long hours. Marketing, hospitality.
It's a hurricane. I remember I left Sheraton, and I was pregnant with my baby girl Theodora, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go back to hospitality because I could never think that I could manage, you know, being a mom and taking care of Theodora and also doing what I used to do.
Yeah.
So I stayed home 1 year with her, and I became crazy because I'm a workaholic. I've been working since I was 16, and I love hospitality. It's in my blood. And I went back to hospitality, and I got an amazing opportunity, and it was, let's say, much more like, I just went with it. I said, okay, you know, like, God help me, like, let me just do it. You know, I don't want to think, I don't want to have these like constraints in my head that I cannot do it. Let's do it. It might be better than I thought it would be. And somehow I managed, but it's very difficult. It's very, 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 like the pressure.
Because marketing hours never stop.
Never stop, and I'm always constant. Like they gave me, in my previous property, like I had an exception to leave at 5. This never happens. But I would never leave at 5. Like I would leave at 6. But it's early, considered quite early, like from 8:30 to 6.
In the industry.
In the industry. So I was like leaving around 6, right? And then, you know, I had to go and spend time with my daughter, put her to sleep, and then I would continue to work. And if we had events or activations, I would go back to the hotel and, you know, continue with that. But it's very difficult. You need to have a strong mindset. You know, managing the house, and like you're thinking of like, okay, what meals I need to cook. And I was taking care of myself as well. Like for me, training, exercise also gives me that, like, you know, relief from work. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of the house. You have to take care of your husband, your child. And you have a team to take care of because they have emotions, they have feelings, they come with you with problems. And you have to manage that, and you have to motivate them. And then you have a GM to handle, right?
Yeah.
He's putting pressure on you. He has expectations. You don't want to let him down. You want to deliver. And it was a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure, but, you know, I was able to do it. Was it easy? It's never easy. And somehow you can't, you need to cancel the noise and just focus on what needs to be done.
100%. If you had an advice to give to 25 years Haya, what would it be?
At 25, sorry, Ayed?
Yeah, your advice to 25-year-old you.
Me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Starting.
Nice question. To be a bit more patient.
Okay.
I'm very impatient, but impatience in a good way is that I want to like get things done, you know, like I want to, you know, like let's move, let's like come up with ideas, let's activate, let's do that, you know. It's just I need to be a little bit more patient with people, you know. Everyone has their own way of doing things, but being a bit more patient.
That's amazing. That's it for today.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you, Haya.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our talk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
That was
Elie.
amazing.
Thank you.